Welcome to For Collectors.
Hello, everyone. It's For Collectors again, but I'm not a For Collector. I have hosted this show now for the 6th time, and my name is Dan. As you can see right there, my channel is Dan's Vintage Baseball PC, and I have the tremendous pleasure of hosting two of the best guys in the entire hobby, not just YouTube, hobby. I've met both of these gentlemen in person, and I can assure you that how much you like them on their channels, you would like them even more in person. And fortunately, most of the people in this chat have probably met them. I'm going to bring them both on at the same time so we can talk about good afternoon, good evening. I forget who's in the afternoon. Oh, Dylan's in the afternoon.
Evening.
Good evening. Orlando is from sunny Florida, and Dylan is from the beautiful, beautiful state of Hawaii that I visited in 2023 and would love to go back. But anyway, good evening, good afternoon, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing great.
Excellent. Stoked to be on here.
Yeah.
Freaking
Awesome.
Pumped, guys.
So I had originally thought of this based on something that I don't want to get into, but I can say that both of you are celebrating your 3rd anniversary on YouTube next week.
That's
Orlando's
right.
first video was January 1st, 2022. So that'll be
Yes.
3 years on New Year's Day. And
Yep.
Dylan, your first video was January 6th, 2022. So the end of next week, you'll be 3 years on YouTube, both of you. And so I thought it would be perfect because I know you're both friends and you both, have a special relationship, and you're both going to be celebrating your 3rd anniversary, which is important for something that we'll get into some other time. But I just wanted to say congratulations to both of you. And when I approached you, Dylan said, well, why don't we just do a video talking about our YouTube journeys? And I said, that's absolutely perfect. So let's do that. So I sent you an email asking you about all different kinds of stuff, but I wanted to start by saying, generally what I do on my channel, both of you have been on my channel, so talk about your collection history, like before YouTube, when you were a kid, when you were a teenager, all that kind of stuff. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Orlando.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll try to make it quick, but Dylan and I like to talk, so some of our videos are long, and we may drag it out. But anyway, well, I was born in Cuba, and I came when I was 4 years old, and in Cuba, baseball was the most popular sport, and it still is. So my family has always loved baseball. So when we got here in the States, as a 4-year-old kid, we basically came from communist country. We had nothing. So, we played sports, and we played ball in the streets and stuff like that when I was little. And I happened to have neighborhood kids, 4 brothers that lived in the same block that I did. And they played Little League, and their father, one of the Little League coaches. So that's kind of how I started, just playing Little League. And like I said, my family always was into that. My dad, unfortunately, he worked like 2 jobs back then, and, had to learn English. So I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him back in those days when I was little. But my grandfather, I did. And my grandfather really was a huge fan. I mean, he owned a grocery store in Cuba, and he sponsored a team over there. So, he was the one that took me to spring training, and I got to meet some of the players in spring training here. The Orioles used to play spring training here in Miami, and the Yankees in Fort Lauderdale. So really, those brothers those 4 brothers, 4 boys, is who got me into it. And when I first started, what I remember is really cards from 1970. I mean, I really remember those cards the most. But so I collected throughout, basically until I went into college. Then I stopped, got married, and had kids. And it was like a 7-year period that I kind of stopped, and I moved to Tampa for a job, a new job and all that stuff. And then one day my mom calls me and says, hey, you know, I found your cards. Your dad found all these shoe boxes full of cards up in the closet, and I had stuck them up in a hall closet in the top, and I really kind of forgot about them. And I drove down that next weekend, picked them all up. I had about 6 shoe boxes full of cards. The oldest were from 1968. So that's when I first started, and 69. And then I had literally built almost complete sets from 70 all the way through 76. And all of that, I had doubles and triples and all that. I mean, I had 2 Nolan Ryan rookies and a whole bunch of other duplicates and stuff. And, you know, my favorite player was Mantle at the time. But, you know, when I went back and I looked through all my collection, I only found one Mantle, and this is the only Mantle that I had. And I had almost a whole set of these little game cards. And I think what I had remembered was I think I traded cards to complete this game set. And this is the only Mantle from my original collection from when I was a kid. And then, you know, I went on to collect Mantles. And then from there, I, you know, started doing some card shows because I had a lot of dupes and a lot of stuff. So I did the card shows at the malls. Yes. We're like brothers, I'm telling you. We really, really are.
I was looking at it when you were telling me the story. I'm like, oh, I got that right there.
Awesome.
Sorry.
So, you know, and my kids were growing up, and we did card shows during the 80s, and I kind of filled in my collection. And I was a set builder for many years. And I went back to build sets all the way from the 50s and 60s and 70s. And then later on, during one deal at one card show, I found I bought some of these 1888 Goodwin Champion cards. Yes, sir, there it is. I bought some of those, and I didn't know much about them, so I just kind of put them off to the side and stuff. And then years later, you know, I started looking through my collection, and I said, man, this set is just beautiful. And I started researching them and started getting more into pre-war. And that set got me into pre-war. And from then, I really started into the history of baseball and started going down into the early 1900s and then the 19th century. And that's kind of what my collecting history pretty much. And all of this was by myself, collecting alone, you know, for many, many years. And my family knew that I was collected, and they knew and stuff. And I shared a lot with my dad, you know, so I would share what the cards that I would pick up and stuff. And he knew baseball, and, you know, my grandfather, but then he passed away. And pretty much that was it. Nobody knew what I had. And, you know, we're going to talk about why I started my channel. And it was just to document my collection. And I'll get into that, I guess, later on.
Let me ask you a question, Orlando.
Yes.
What I missed the date. What year did you transfer into the pre-war stuff? When did you start doing that?
It was about 20 years ago.
Okay.
25 years ago.
So how old were you, roughly?
I was 40, in my 40s.
Okay, right on. That's sick. It's fun. I just trying to figure out.
Yeah,
when is my journey going to begin?
Through all, you know, it got to a point that when you're doing shows and stuff, you see a lot of cards from the 50s and 60s and 70s all the time. I mean, that's what you see. And then, so I built my sets. And once you build all those sets, it's like, I mean, there's still some sets I didn't build. I didn't get to complete the 52 set and things like that. But, you know, it gets to a point that I just had something that I had never seen. And I started seeing some of these T206 cards. I started seeing some of these other cards. And it just, I went down that rabbit hole really without even knowing what I was getting into. It was mainly just reading books and stuff like that, and talking to other dealers that had some of those cards. Collector's Dream, how that
yeah, name. So Mookie wants us to get to the last question that I have planned.
Yeah. It's coming true. The Collector's Dream, the actual name came from when I started my as a dealer, and I've shown the business card that I printed back then that says A Collector's Dream. And it was just me thinking, what is my dream collection going to be like? And that's kind of what my whole thing was, trying to build the perfect collection, and not the biggest collection, but a great collection. So that was my dream. And then my business was a collector's dream for many years. And then when I decided to come back, I wasn't thinking about calling it a collector's dream. I was thinking about calling it something vintage something, but I couldn't come up with anything that would make sense. And I'm saying, hey, I'm going to go back to my own, my dream, which is my collector's dream.
Well, it's a great title. I feel like, some channels have very good names like yours. Some channels like mine are intentionally dumb. So anyway, so Dylan, when I had you on my show, we talked for an hour and 40 minutes and we could have gone on for another hour. But the funniest thing is I was worried that it wouldn't get traction because it was so long. And the video literally has 1,500 views, which is like top 5 of my entire channel. So anyway, thank you.
Well, I was told, when I started YouTube, I always just do whatever I want for the YouTube thing. And everyone's like, your videos are so long. They're so long. Yet people still watch them. And the thing is, long videos are the thing now. I freaking love long videos because I don't want to just sit at home and watch TV, watch YouTube videos all day long. I want to listen to it while I'm getting something else done, organizing cards. You can look up once in a while. And to me, long videos are like my go-to because I'm an Audible book guy before YouTube. I've done that for 15 years, and then podcast. So everyone warned me like, dude, don't, they say on the YouTube, like, don't do long videos. Dude, do whatever the heck you want to do. Short videos are cool too. Just don't listen to anyone. That's how my motto is. People still listen to that one, right? I'll listen to you guys talk baseball cards for 7 hours. If it's on and I'm working, there's 7 hours of my workday that went by so fast. So I freaking love it.
So speaking of your videos, I saw, and we'll talk, I'm starting to work back to your origin story here. I saw a video, I don't know if it's your last one or one before that, where it's a picture of you on like this white bicycle on like this, like street right out of the movies. And I'm like, this is a great, great picture. And I was thinking to myself, like, this is the kid that started collecting baseball cards. And so take me from there. Take me from that picture of you on the white bicycle to you as the card collector.
Oh, I was collecting cards way before that white bicycle. So I started collecting cards. I did a Genesis on one of my first videos. It was like probably an hour and a half long. I did a Genesis of my collecting journey. And I wasn't really sure where it all began. So it was fun for me to make that video because I kind of realized that I think I started with movie cards. And to be exact, I think it was Goonies and then Who Framed Roger Rabbit were my two movie collections that I actually completed the sets. And the Goonies one, I completed the set by going to, there's a pizza place after Little League baseball games, and soccer games when we were like 5. We'd go over there and it was the vending machines and Goonies cards were in there. I never opened packs, but that's how we got them. And there was also a place, I lived across the street from the Westminster Mall in Huntington Beach. That's actually Westminster, but I lived in Huntington Beach, but across the street. And they had a little vending machine there too. I think there was an arcade there that had it. And that's how I first started collecting cards. Baseball cards were just the next extension because I played baseball. I played, since I was a kid, literally, T-ball. And that's when the passion started. And it was really 87 tops when I actually probably opened my first packs. I definitely opened some 86 packs. But 87 was my jam. My dad would buy me a 1 pack of baseball cards every time I struck a kid out in Little League. And so I was, couple games, I struck like 9 kids out. I was tiny. I was a little short guy. And I skipped a bunch of divisions because I'm an athlete. I've always been an athlete. I'm super athletic. And I was always the smallest, youngest guy in all the sports. So I skipped, I went from T-ball, and then they had what they have now, coach pitch. We didn't have coach pitch. We had kid pitch. And then I skipped 2 divisions straight to minor A's. So I was playing with big kids. And so I just, I started buying, I was striking guys out then, collecting 87 tops. And everyone talks about, like, I know I'm going sidetracked here, but I just liked pulling out the good guys. Like, I never once put the 87 top set together, and I still have 5,000 of them. Never ever did I put it together.
You're on with 2 set builders, so
Yeah.
Dude, well, I have built some, but built the Goonie set. So fast forward, I played with baseball cards. I loved them. The first cards I ever had, I put them in rubber bands and in a cigar box, literal cigar box, literally rubber band them. And I remember having about 3 or 4 stacks, and I just loved the stacks of cards. Something about that was really special. But the second they came out with sleeves, I think my first album I ever put cards in was a photo album. And I had the Jose Canseco Eric Plunk rookie card that was worth $8 back then. And I put that in the album, the photo album where you peel the sheet up. And I didn't realize it's all sticky, right? That was my first album. And then they came out with plastic stuff. And everyone always talks about, you got to touch the cards. You got to touch the cards. Dude, I haven't touched the cards since mine is obviously open packs, but I don't care if cards are in cases. So fast forward, I collected all the way up into high school. I was known in high school as a baseball card collector. People knew me on the surf team. People thought I bought my first house because of baseball cards, because I was selling baseball cards in high school. I have never stopped, and I really jumped into the vintage world. It was right when grading started, or once I sent my first cards off to get graded. I think it was 97, 98, 99 in that zone. That was like the bug that got me. And it must have been like 96, 7, something like that. And then it was off to the races. And I ran up a credit card bill, just a side story during this whole thing. During the high school, when I was buying them and selling them, I ran a huge credit card bill up to like $3,000. And because I was selling them, like buying them, selling them, buying them, selling them. I didn't realize, no one taught me finances. And so I got into a little trouble and realized, dude, I got to pay these off. Like, I didn't know it was going to accumulate all this interest. So, and I was keeping too many of the cards. So fast forward a little, borrowed some money from my Oma and Opa and paid off the credit cards, and I kept all those cards. So at that moment, whenever that was, I don't know, 99, 98, something like that, I was a full-blown collector, and I just didn't stop buying. And I had been buying PSA 7s and PSA 8 off-centered top-to-bottom cards. I probably had 208 OCs top-to-bottom, off-centered top-to-bottom in my collection when I started my YouTube journey. And you guys know the big change. I sold off all the ones that really didn't fit the eye anymore. Now I kept my entire set. I did build this set, so you set builders. I did build this entire set of the 75 Topps Mini, the card on cards, the MVPs. So I still build sets once in a while. So fast forward all the way to now, I'm still doing the same thing, just collecting baseball cards. That's my story. I've never stopped. I've never gotten out. I went through a wax opening time, like in the 90s. I think it was 96. I was collecting basketball cards, going to this Frankenstein show, still buying vintage. But then in the 2000s, me and my buddy Danny went bonkers and went nuts ripping wax open. So a warning to everyone out there, don't do it. You never get your money back. But I will promise you this. It was the funnest time I've ever had in my life. Like we were living like kings. I had a great job, and we were ripping wax open, drinking beers, playing pool with the cards all over the pool table. And we did that for like 5 years. So I've done it all. And within that, I was collecting vintage cards, and I've had safes traveling around with me with stacks of graded slabs. Yeah, there we go, Orlando. See,
over
yes.
the pool table.
We had a pool table in my first house, and it was in our garage, and not my parents' house, my first house that I purchased. And we had a pool table, and we played pool and ripped cards all the time on the pool table. It was so fun. So yeah, that's my journey. Nothing's, you know, I still love the cards. I love tops. You know, a lot have changed in my brain, but the love for the cards hasn't changed. Like when I have a card and I sell it, I still want that card back. I just want it back in a different condition. So my brain has changed on a condition and an eye, you know, enjoying the cards that way, much different than it was in the past where I just wanted the highest grade. I wanted a PSA 7, PSA 8. 8 OCs I thought were great deals, so I was buying them, pack fresh. I still love the cards for what they are. So 8 OC or perfectly centered, I just love them. You know, I look at a Topps card, I can look at the same Topps card 1,000 times, I still get that joy. So that's it. I'll stop there. I'll stop talking.
I was going to ask you, I watched your first video this week, and I have to say, it's really good. Because we went back in the house, I was in that frat house in Cleveland this summer with the National, and one night, John, 3D80s kid, played everyone's first video. So we watched everyone's first video.
Yeah, we did the same thing at our house that we stayed
Some of them were really bad. Like mine is bad. I mean, it's not as bad as some of the other ones, I think, but I feel like I've gotten better. But your first video is really good. And it's funny because you do talk about the OCs, that you thought the OCs were a good value, the top to bottom OCs.
I still do. I still think that if you like off-center cards, the greatest bang for your buck is you buy those 8 with the OC labels because they are stunning. And if you're collecting off-center cards, no one wants those things because the label. I still think they're a great deal, and I still have probably 50 of them, you know, left in my collection. But in that video, Dan, I was wasted. I was probably 4 drinks deep. Like I was hammered because I was like, my wife was hounding me. She had a friend over, so I was serving them cocktails, and my wife said, "You got to go make a video. Just do it." And so I left them alone, and then my wife came in there and filmed it for me.
Fine. You seem fine. One question though. Do you still have the I think it was a 35 Gaudi 4-in-1 with Jimmy Fox? Do you still have that card?
Yeah. You can see it in the video. Oh yeah, it's right there.
Awesome. All right, so you kept the first. Yeah. You kept the card.
Oh yeah, it's up there. Oh yeah, that was the one I showed off. Yeah, it's on the wall. It's right below. There it is. See it? Bottom left corner.
Yes.
Below Junior Gilliam.
There it is. Okay.
There she
is. I don't want to get too close to the screen. So my next question was, what spurned you? What was the decision? What's the basis for you to start the YouTube channel 3 years ago? So I'll start with you, Orlando, because we're gonna go in that order. How's that sound?
All right. Mine is it's a sad, very sad story. I was going through really a rough time with my dad. My dad had dementia or Alzheimer's, and that's something. It's when you think of Lou Gehrig's disease, where your muscles go away. Well, this is your brain goes away, and then after a while, he didn't recognize or stop recognizing people, so it was a tough thing, and it was going on for years. So that's one of the reasons I retired early, to spend time with my mom and my dad. And so I was able to spend a lot of time with him since I did retire. And I was able to kind of cards, talk about baseball. Really, it was the closest time that I'd spent with my dad in many years. But he declining health, and then so I was kind of down. And sometimes what happens is you think things are going to get worse, and they did. A friend of mine that I'd known for about 20 years, and she worked with me for a long time. She got breast cancer, and she was going through a real rough time because when this is somebody that's a super positive. Really, Dylan is positive. This person is the most positive person I've ever met, and here he's going through radiation and chemotherapy and all that stuff, and I'm I'm thinking, my dad's dying, and she's dying almost, you know. And so talking to her, really, it was one of those things that at that time, planning on, she's looking, you know, she had to leave her job because of the cancer and stuff. A job that it took like for years to get there, you know. Has someone that has 2 master's degree and got it, one, you know, the job of the lifetime, you know, when you think about your job of the lifetime, and then boom, gets the cancer, 2 years in therapy and chemo and all that stuff, and then the entire time she's just thinking about, you know, my future job. You know, I'm looking, you know, where am I going to apply after this happens and this and that. I'm thinking, you know, talk about being positive. So, you know, basically he's talking to her, and I'm down, depressed, and said, you know, what do you know, I know you collect cards. You know, why don't you do something with that? What are you planning for the rest of your life? And I'm thinking, I didn't have any plans for the rest of my life. You know, I really didn't think about anything. I just retired. My plans were taking care of my mom and dad and stuff. So basically, that's what inspired me and said, you know, you need to do that. You need to go and do what you really want to do. And so I went ahead and decided to do that. And I talked to my daughter about it and told her I wanted to set up a thing. My daughter said, great, that's a great idea. She didn't know exactly all the cards in my collection and stuff. So I said, you know, what I'm going to do is, you know, I said, I just want to kind of document my collection because, you know, when you see death, basically, you know, other people dying, you're thinking about your own mortality. And then I'm thinking, you know, what happens now with my cards? All of them were like, most of them in the safe deposit box in there. And I said, nobody knew what I had. So I talked to my daughter and I said, you know, I've been thinking of, you know, kind of documenting my collection, sharing what I have, and really talking about the cards and the history of the cards. So my family, and she would know, and my son and daughter would know exactly what I've got, what it is, and the importance of that item, you know, in history, or because some of the pieces that I have are, you know, almost one of a kind, they're museum type pieces, you know, and I didn't want those things to just, you know, go to waste. So when I talked to my daughter, she said, I want to set it up. And then she recorded my first video and helped me with that. And that's kind of how I started my YouTube. And then, you know, my dad, you know, unfortunately, he passed away. He never got to see any of my YouTube videos, but my mom did. And I share those with my mom, and she watches all of my videos.
Your
and I
mom
share
has
all of
been
my
on
collection
your
with her.
channel.
She's
Your
been on my
mom being
channel.
on your channel was one of my
Gosh,
favorites.
yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, in your backyard.
Yeah, I share, you know, I see her still 3-4 times a week, and you know, sit down by the koi pond and talk to her there, and share a lot of my cards, or either I
Yeah.
show her the video or I bring the cards over and show them to her, because she's the one that I can kind of share it with at this time, you know.
Well, she's a lot of moms threw cards out. Your mom called you up and said, "Hey, we still have them." So there you go.
Yeah. So my channel basically was to document my collection for future, you know, for the future, and that's kind of how I started.
So Dylan, why'd you start a channel?
Dude, you know, once I'm giving Mike Moynihan the credit, because I found, you know, I've done Audible for 15 years. I had a job running a CNC machine where I could have headphones on all day long. And so I was into books, and I've read every single baseball book you could possibly read about, every single baseball player ever that was on Audible. Like, I've read them all. And then my dad's like, dude, why don't you try some podcasts? And I was like, all right, I'll try some podcasts. Now, I don't know, at some point in time, I came across Golden Age of Cardboard, and it blew my mind. And I was just like, I think I marinated on it. It was either a year or 2 years worth of listening to that and telling my wife, like, getting all excited, you know, I'm the kid. I was listening and like raising my hand, and no, that's not the best set. This is the best set. You guys are wrong. That's the ugliest card I've ever seen. You guys are out of your minds, you know. My favorite ones are ranking, you know, the best sets of all time. And I vividly remember listening to Mike, George Diamond Yard, and Don's Field of Dreams. That's the final episode, the final straw that broke the camel's back. That one inspired me to like raise my hand and be like, I want to tell you what my favorites are. I want to tell you what I have done in my life of collecting, what cards I love. And I also, you see it in my first video, I'm not ashamed to say it, I love putting my opinions out there. It's the one safe space. Like, I'm not going to share my opinions about religion with people that aren't my wife or direct friends. I'm not gonna share who I voted for with anyone. I'm not gonna share that stuff. But cards, man, I could tell Orlando that the card that he thinks is the most beautiful card in the world is ugly, and he's not gonna get offended. And he could tell me the same thing because they're cardboard, and it's fun to discuss those things. Now, I also take it a step further. I love opinions about what I think is going to be worth more in the future. And I said that in my very first video. And I'm adamant about, I've loved my collection as a marriage, meaning when I buy a card, I have always been under the intent that it was worth money and I want it to be worth more, or at least what I paid. Honestly, if I could just roll a dice and have all my cards be worth exactly what I paid, that would be a better situation than even them going up or going down. I'd rather them just be worth the same. Because then one day you can enjoy them your whole life and then cash out. But in a better world, I think that we live in a collecting world, I think that they will gradually go up. But I'm not ashamed to talk about my opinions and express because of the experiences I've had. Yes, I'm not the most knowledgeable guy about what an E97 and a 55X, and I don't even know what any of that is. I didn't even know. I never knew that. I was literally in this hobby by myself. My dad never looked at, he doesn't like baseball cards. He doesn't like baseball. No one in my family likes any of that stuff. No one talked to me about, hey, you should collect this or you should collect that. No, this was me by myself, literally doing it alone my whole life. And I'm like, I have thoughts, I have opinions, and if I can express them and show my collection off, because I have walls and now they're getting bigger. I've had collections my whole life displayed. And for me to share that stuff and to express my thoughts and opinions of my experience in this hobby, I love it, because you really, when someone shows a card and they, I know we all feel this way. We're like, dude, that's the worst decision ever. Why would you ever buy that? That's crazy. We all think that. And I know people think that about me. I don't look at comps. I never looked at comps. I just don't care. I buy a card because I like the card. I pay what I think it's worth. I'm not afraid to say that. And I'm also not afraid. I'm not worried about thinking about somebody else thinking like, I'm totally wrong. I don't care. I just want to be able to express it and bounce ideas off of friends. And I have text message, friends that, we agree and disagree on things. And it's really fun. It's really fun because there's no hard feelings attached. We all defend our own collections, right? So that's why I started YouTube, is I wanted to express, I love talking about cards. I love being around them. Everything about them brings me joy. And I have a heck of a lot of opinions. And I think I'm right about all of them, and everyone's wrong. So that's what's so fun about it.
There's this guy in the chat, the Man Ginny collection. I think we're gonna have to get rid of him because he's saying all sorts of mean stuff about all of us. Man Ginny.
Oh, John Mangini, get him out of here.
I don't know this guy.
Oh, he just tweets mean stuff. You know how that is.
He's saying all sorts of mean stuff about you. He's making fun of me, and I'm pointing at the camera. Someone wanted me to point at the camera too.
I see it.
Making fun of me, and I'm not even saying anything.
Hey, John's my best friend. He sent me a Mike Schmidt rookie card right there.
Wow.
Unbelievable example. And I never owned a Mike Schmidt rookie card in my whole life. And he handed me that at the National. He was drinking one night and he was like giving cards away on the text thread. You have this card? I'm like, are you drinking? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't have it. He's like, it's yours. I didn't actually think he was going to give it to me at the National. He did. I was like, Yes. I love it. I love talking cards. I love hanging out. I love expressing my opinions, right, wrong. Doesn't matter. I can express mine and you can express yours.
That's the
So
beauty of it, you know?
Yeah.
exactly, and I feel like you know, people respect it. You know, like if you're just following along with the current mode, people are going to be like, oh yeah, great, okay. But if you say something and you take a strong position, like your position on centering, as far as I'm concerned, has influenced the entire YouTube hobby.
Yeah.
And so you're right. Having a strong opinion and expressing it is good, not only good for your channel, but good for everyone. As if you're right. I'm not sure you're right about the 75 top set, but
well, here's the, I mean, look, you could shoot yourself in the foot by expressing your opinion and everyone get all fired up, but that's not the point for me. The point isn't for centering to become worth a whole bunch of money. The point is that I realize that what a good looking baseball card is aesthetically from my wife. You know, she's like, dude,
right.
Once I got on YouTube, she's like started looking at my cards because I'd be like, dude, I was on with so-and-so and I was on with Mike Moynihan. He had me on Golden Age of Cardboard. So she's actually started looking at my cards and she goes, these are all off-centered. And I'm like, she's an artist. She's like, these are all like, what is this? And I go, yeah, you're right. But look at those sharp corners. And she's like, but it's not centered. So now I look at my cards differently. And it's fun. Opinions can change in the hobby so much easier. And I allow myself to change my opinions much easier than you can with religion or politics or a lot of other things. Cards, yeah, there's no harm in changing your opinions. And if you don't like a card, sell it. If you like a card, buy it. You know, it's opinions. They're fun. That's how I look at this hobby. That's how I look at my YouTube channel. I have a good time with it, as you can see. I don't film videos if I don't want to. I could go 10 days without making a video. I could make 5 in 5 days. I can drink during a video. I can have coffee during a video. I don't care. If the moment strikes, I make a video. That's how I roll. Sorry, I'm
just like you, Dylan. I do the same thing. You know,
I know you.
It all depends. You're in the mood to do it, you go ahead and do it. If you're not, you don't. You know, most of the time, if I'm just looking through my cards, I like, hey, I haven't shown this one in a while. And I just feel like, hey, I'm going to do it. I get excited with looking at the card, and I'm going to just let's go on. You know. So you know, Andrew asked a good question there. What were
let's go back to that. That was a good question.
The first YouTuber, you know, it was Baseball Collector Mike. That's the first one, and the second one I think was Tan Man Baseball Fan. And I don't know if anybody knows Tanner, but Tanner, I was a Conseco collector. He's a huge, he's like the biggest Conseco collector, and he also collects a lot of 19th century stuff. And he doesn't do a lot of videos anymore, but he's been on YouTube for probably, I don't know, 12 years or something. So I followed, those were the first two that I really followed closely. And then, you know, just a whole bunch of guys after that.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned off screen, Ryan Nolan.
Ryan Nolan was the first, since he's from Florida, he was the first one that I really met, you know, as a YouTuber that I'd met. And, you know, we became friends, and you know, we got together at Atlantic City. I spent most of the time with him there, and we roomed together all the nationals now. And he was the first guy that really interviewed me. He did an interview on his channel for my Goodwin Champion set when I first started my first year, and that was great. And you know, a lot of people, you know, the community really is what's helped my channel the most. It's just everybody has kind of contacted me. I've never done, you know, my intention was not even to show myself or even my face on my channel. It was all about the cards, the history of the cards, the history of baseball or football too. But, you know, that's what it was all about. And I didn't have any intention until, you know, Ryan contacted me, then other people started contacting me. And, you know, like Mike Junkwax Hero, you know, he had me on his, he interviewed me, and that gave me a big boost. Plus a lot of other people, you know, again.
So you sort of transitioned into like my next question, which was, or next topic, which was like mileposts along the way that you feel like helped you not only grow your channel, but have you continue your channel for this 3-year period?
That's a great, yeah. Let me, before Dylan goes into that one, let me tell you what happened with me. And, when I started, back then in January 1st, I did about 4 months worth of videos, and I had 36 subscribers. And so I was getting a little bit frustrated, but I had planned to go to the national, and, I knew that Ryan was going to be there. So at least I had somebody that I could see, So I, it was okay, no problem. I still got 36 subscribers, no big deal. And then about 3 to 4 weeks before the national, Vince, New York Yanks fan, saw my, I had put on there about a month before that, I put my mantle run, and he saw my video, and he gave me a shout out. And he actually literally I put it on my video before, he did a video of my video. And he said, I never do shout outs, but I want you guys to check out his channel. And Vince, he had like, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers back then. And all of a sudden, I picked up like a couple hundred subscribers right within 2 weeks. So when I got to the national, I'm like, man, I got, 200 and something subscribers now. And as soon as I got there, I was trying to find out where the YouTubers were. And then Ryan told me they're going to be up at the, it was, I don't remember the name of the place, but it was, up in the outside area there in one of the hotels, the top bar there. As soon as I got up there and I went through the doors where the YouTubers were, the first one that was there was Mangini. Mangini had no idea who the hell I was. Nobody knew who the hell I was. Nobody. So all of a sudden, he sees me and says, hey, who are you? I said, oh, I'm Orlando. I have a YouTube channel. He says, come on, I'm going to buy you a drink. And I'm like, wow, this guy doesn't even know who I am. And I knew Mangini because, you saw him. He was one of the guys that I followed at that time. And I couldn't believe it, And then in the other table was Vince and Joe Silver Jackify. And I run over to Vince. Vince, I love you. He's like, what? Who are you? I said, I'm Orlando. I'm the guy that you gave the shout out to, because nobody had seen my face. Remember, I'm a hand model with my cards, And then, it was just great. And then James Elite Hunter came, and Picker Jim and Lou Rock, and everybody just came on, and John Wade Boggs fan. I mean, I met all those guys there in Atlantic City, and it was just like, all of a sudden, I have all these friends that I never had. And it was just probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Really, in my collecting history, that was the number one moment that I'll never forget. And then from then on, it just was crazy, just meeting everybody else and going to the other Strongsville and the other nationals. And then just, it's just been an awesome ride.
Well, that's a collector's dream, right?
It definitely is, my friend.
Awesome. Dylan, milestones along the way. I guess maybe collaborations, like with Adam. Is that a milestone? Is that?
Yeah. Before I get into that, Orlando, watching everyone at the Atlantic City. There, you guys had there was a rooftop bar you guys were on.
Right, that's what it was.
I don't know if it's like Lou Rock was live or something. Man, I was losing it at home, just going, oh, those are my people. I need to be there. What am I doing? But it's it was that was, for me, that was I was like, that's the dream right there. I want to be in a room with all these guys. These are my people. It's one thing to be in a room with surfers. We don't like talking about our waves. We don't even want to be surfing with anyone. We see someone in the water, we want them to get out of the water. We want to surf by ourselves. But cards, man, I want to be around everybody. So, all right. So, yes, collaborations with Adam Splendid Sports. He's my ultimate, I guess he would be my biggest supporter besides my wife, for my whole confidence in just continuing to express my opinions, because I listened to Adam. Somehow I found Adam's podcast after I found Mike's. And he was on. He had a Splendid Sports podcast, and I loved every episode. So I don't remember when it was. I either reached out to him, he would know more. I can't remember. It was 3 years ago, or sometime like that. And I'm like, hey, can I be on your show? Or dude, I can't even remember what I said. But then he came back with like, hey, do you want to do a collaboration? Me and you, we can do something called Turn Back the Clock. We both like those card on cards. To me, those are my funnest episodes. Of course, this is awesome. And this could be the funnest episode I do all year, you know, the whole year. But individually, like if I'm planning something out, Turn Back the Clock's my funnest episode because it's me and Adam. We can talk for 7 hours if we want. We can talk for 20 minutes. Me and him just bounce ideas off each other. We have a great time. And we barely even, I mean, I've talked to him on the phone probably, I don't know, 5 times tops. We are on the text thread and we text each other privately as well sometimes, but we don't even need that. Once we're on Turn Back the Clock together, I love it. That's my favorite thing. And then doing my own videos, just being me, just having a good time. There was nothing that like, hey, blew my channel up. I didn't wake up one morning and there was, you know, an extra 100 followers. I went on Golden Age of Cardboards. I probably got an extra 20 or something. Nothing happened. There was no like, my channel never went from 0 to hero. It just, you know, one here, another here, you know, go back down, then come back up, and that's just how it happened. It was just organically, and that's how I'm going to continue to do it. There was a moment in time where I wanted to grow my channel. I'm like, man, this is a thing. Like I could probably make some money on YouTube and like, let's make this go. And there's like that moment. And I even talked about it with Adam. We did a Turn Back the Clock and I probably did it on my own channel. Like I want to grow my channel. I'm totally done. I don't want to grow. I don't care about growing my channel. I make $50 a month now on YouTube. Just playing with baseball cards. Like that's enough. That's good. If I want to make money on YouTube, I have a big Instagram account, which I don't even pay attention to anymore. Pawn Koi Turtle. And I made a few $100 one month. They gave me a pass. They were doing some trial run. Like, hey, you want to make some money? Here, you sign up for this. And I made $200 in like one video because I've had like 1 million views on some of my old videos on Instagram. So if I wanted to make money on YouTube, I will probably end up doing a Pawn Koi Turtle. I have a neighbor who is a mega millionaire, mega star. Literally my direct neighbor. We share a water well. She's a YouTube star. So I will probably do that because that's my passion, is building ponds and doing yard things. That's another thing. If I want to make money on YouTube, that's that. This is for fun. I'm never going to try and grow my channel. I'm past that. I want to do this. This is my outlet. This is my time where surfing is very stressful because you're always thinking about swells coming in. You're always thinking about you're missing it. It's unlike any other sport. Every hour is different. So when I am done and I come home into the card room and I'm thinking about cards, I'm in it. This is where I want to be. This is my safe space. I could care less about how many subscribers I have. I love getting comments. I love all that. And it is awesome to get a lot of views. But it's not why I do it. I mean, I do it because I like to sit at home in my bed. You guys might think I'm kidding. I say this all the time. My wife falls asleep. I put my videos on. And I watch my videos because I put my videos in 4K. I load them up in 4K and close-ups of my cards, turn the volume off, and I watch my own baseball cards for 3 hours, you know, till I fall asleep. I kid you not, I do that at least 3 times a week. So that's my, you know, I made promises on my channel. Last year I said I was going to do this, and this. Man, I couldn't do none of it. I'd be like, if I say I'm going to do something, trust me, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm just going to come up here and play with my baseball cards and talk to you guys. Okay? That's my plan.
You'll lose subscribers from this.
You know,
That's
Dylan and I
fine.
are the same.
Doesn't matter.
Everybody's talking about their goals and goals and goals and goals. I don't know what my goals are. I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing videos and keep talking and keep showing what I want to show. And
there's nothing wrong with growing your channel. All power.
It's good, but
it's perfectly fine. It is fantastic if people have that ambition. I don't edit. I don't want that. That's not my ambition. My ambition is to have a good time with this. and you could do both. You know, you can make a living doing card videos. I know you can. That's not my intention anymore. And I don't even want to sell baseball cards anymore. I've also stopped that since I've done YouTube. That was my dream in life. Sell baseball cards for a living. I'm done. I'm not selling baseball cards for a living. I've given that hope up. I don't want it. So that's where I stand, Dan.
Let me say what's going on in the chat a little bit. I was texting with Greg, I guess yesterday or the day before, and he's in Hawaii. I guess he made it.
Oh, wow.
His plane landed. But here's the thing. He says in this chat, my family and I are going to Hawaii. I said, which island? He says, not Dylan's island. It's literally like the first thing he said. Guys talking about you, Dylan. You're not even in the chat. But
I told him he needed I asked him if they wanted to fly over, and I'll give him an adventure for the day. But they're going to come back to this island. He comes over here every so often.
Well, he says he's been to Kauai, and but he hasn't. I guess he's on the Big Island. So yeah. But so anyway, when anybody in the card community thinks about Hawaii, we think about you. So
yeah.
So when I was talking to Orlando a little bit about this pre going live, it was this concept that I had in my head about how my YouTube journey has changed my collection. Like, how has it affected your collection? I'll tell you right now, I'm going to show you a couple of cards. This is the, the Carmelo Deportivo of Adolfo Luque. And this is the only Nielsen's chocolates that I have, which is also Adolfo Luque. And I can tell you, I own these cards very specifically because of the gentleman on my left, Orlando. So
that's my American caramel, Adolfo Luque, and I brought it because of you.
There we go.
From John 3D80's kid, a gift from YouTube.
Right.
And there's another card. Let me see if I can find it.
You see the difference, Dylan? American League have the brown, and then the National League are the blue tints.
Oh, okay. Wow, I had no idea. I just figured one was yellow and one was white, just randomly.
The different leagues, and the writing on the back is blue on these, on those is brown. It depends on the American League or National League. See, I'm teaching Dylan every day more stuff.
Thank you. I love this. I love this set. Sorry, Dan.
Dan, Dan, that's a great question. Yeah.
And this card is Buster Clarkson, who, if you were to buy one of his playing days cards, Negro League legend, it would cost you over $1,000. But I got this card, 1972 Puerto Rican League card. I got this card simply because John Mangini sent me a text saying, "Hey, look at this. Here's a link," and I went and bid on it, and I won. So, if not for YouTube, I don't have this card, which I love. So that's the kind of thing that I feel like is a real part of people's journeys, and I wanted to know how that has affected both of you in the 3 years you've been on YouTube.
What's changed, from there, I was very specific in my collecting, and I still am pretty focused. But when I started my my YouTube channel, I got in contact with a few guys because I put some Cuban cards on there. And I got some Cuban collectors who don't do YouTube, but they're some of the top Cuban collectors really in the country. And one of them literally, is from South Florida, came to my mom's house, and I showed some of his collection. And so that influenced me to get more into Cuban players and Cuban cards. Even though I had some, I wasn't that deep into it. But when I uncovered, I didn't know how many different kinds of cards were actually made in Cuba. And the more I got into that, it got me more into that. So I got into that, into the Cuban cards, Cuban issues, and really issues from other countries, Latin American countries mostly. Then the other thing was that watching Mangini, he influences everybody. So there was some cards that I saw, sets that I had never seen before, even though I read some books and stuff on them. But so I got to a point where I also decided, you know what, I'd like to maybe have one card from some of these sets. Not every set like Mangini, but just some of the main sets, I want to make sure I have a T205, T206, a Cracker Jack, an American Caramel, you know, some of the main sets, just kind of to reflect the history of card collecting, you know, all the way back from the 1800s, all the way through the modern, even if I only have one card, you know, of that player. But so that kind of influenced me versus going only to specific, you know, the player collecting like I was doing before. You know, I kind of stayed with the mantle, and really I sold off a lot of my other stuff. All my Jackie cards and most of my Aaron cards and Mace cards were sold off to get my 52 mantle, which is the heart of my collection, and to finish off my Goodwin Champion set. But yeah, the YouTube community has kind of expanded me a little more with the knowledge that I've gotten from Mangini and other collectors to do that. Also, I've gotten a little bit more into some non-sports, and that also is from Ryan of Breakout Cards. You know, cards like this that I got because of him.
Orlando, don't show me that.
You know, so
that's on my list, man.
I wasn't into some of that.
I love that card so much. It's like my favorite card ever.
The last couple of years, I had to have some of those specific cards.
I love that card. I'm a Disney freak, so I love that card. I'm gonna buy it one day. There's too many cards that we like, right? Sorry, go ahead, Orlando. You showed that card, you got me fired up.
So anyway, that's so I got a little bit into non-sports, but yeah, I try to stay focused. You know, I don't really try to expand too much from my
Who is that? Is it Chaplin? Oh no, it's Disney.
It's Disney. It's
Disney rookie card.
It's the Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse rookie card. So yeah, I did expand a little bit because of the community into pre-war and some non-sports pre-war stuff. But for the most part, I kind of stay in my lane as much as I can.
Well, your lane now is expanded because of YouTube, so your lane's like...
Yeah, a little bit. Bit.
Don't ever... You sell that card, Orlando. You hit me up first. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The chat has given us some things like people who have influenced them. Like, I don't know who Captain Copter is, but...
Okay, so let me tell you a story about Captain Copter, okay? Yeah. Captain Copter, I was on an airplane with my wife and my nephew. We took my nephew to Disneyland a few months ago, randomly. But this guy comes up to me. We're on the plane. We're unboarding at the time in Long Beach. And he goes, hey, I just wanted to come up to you. I don't remember what he exactly said, but I just wanted to come up to you and say, I love your channel and this and that. And I was like, and my nephew collects cards, and you guys have seen him on my channel. His name's Bruce, and my wife's there, and they're just tripping out, going, this random dude on an airplane just introduced, just said, I know you, and his name's Dave, and that's who's in the chat right now. And that's who said he was inspired to buy these cards. And I got these from Mookie Chilson. In that moment, it was so special because from that second on, my nephew to this day thinks I'm like famous because of that moment. So Dave, shout out in the chat. Thank you. That was epic.
That has not happened to me in the wild. It's only happened at card shows.
Yeah.
So somebody comes up and says, my favorite one was the National. This husband and wife come up. The husband says, hey, I watch your channel all the time, and you know, we're talking cards. And the wife says, I know you. Your face is on my TV all the time. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Dave's wife came up to me too and knew all about me. Like, I was like, dude, that's sick. That's insane. What was the question? So influenced on YouTube. Whew, it's more like the question.
Or how has your collection
to your collection as a result of your
more
YouTube
like
journey?
I guess what hasn't changed since I've been on YouTube. What hasn't changed is I still have my 75 MVP set. I still love Topps cards more than all other cards. I was in my favorite card in my modern collection. I was influenced from Shane Shoebox Legends. It's a triple autograph from Aaron Judge's 2022 home run record. And it has my boy Mike Trout. People forget Mike Trout hit 40 home runs in 2022, 2 years ago, and got hurt. Still there. And then this guy, don't know who he is. But these having this autograph in this card in my collection, I would have never even imagined owning a card like this if it wasn't for guys like Shane and other people in the YouTube community. And this is my favorite modern card in my collection. I think it's just an unbelievable baseball card. It's just like unbelievable. So I'm not going to tell anyone on YouTube that they inspired me to collect modern cards, because that happened naturally. I picked up a Mickey Mantle card, and they shipped me this Mike Trout, this exact card, by mistake a year and a half ago. And at that very moment, you know, I'd always wanted Mike Trout cards, but they were so expensive, and then the pandemic hit, so I wasn't going to touch them. But at this moment, everything had already dropped and gotten crushed. Mike Trout everything was, you know, went to 8,000, and his rookie was 2,000 at this time. Okay. So I go, well, this thing came to me naturally. And I said, look, I'll take this instead of the Mickey Mantle. And he goes, okay. It was like $30. It was a $30 Mickey Mantle. It was one of those home run cards. And so I kept this, and this inspired me to just go after Mike Trout and modern stuff. And then we'll go back to Shane Shoebox Legends. This is the Aaron Judge, collecting these. His home run record card, and this one's autographed. This is what I love about YouTube. I have been so inspired by the modern cards. And I've always bought modern cards. I opened modern cards, you know, I always did, but I never collected them. And now I have a massive collection, because during that off-centered cards, I had all these cards that I sold and this money accumulating. So I bought these cards with all those off-centered vintage cards. And I literally, I mean, I still love vintage more when I get a pure vintage card that's just beautiful and magical. It still brings me just a slight bit more. But when only because maybe the eye appeal on the vintage, it gets me there. But as far as like the butterflies inside and that feeling, modern cards do it to me now. They do it. When I pick up a card that I love, Dan, you know, you don't have to buy modern cards. You don't have to like them. You don't have to love them. You don't have to care about them.
This one does something to me.
Exactly. So that to me, I love it. That's what I've been inspired from is I go down these random things, but they happen organically, and you just see someone showing, like John Mangini showing something, and you just love it. Like that Walt Disney card with Mickey Mouse. I would have never known about that card except for YouTube.
Right.
And that card, to me, I really want that card. It is on. I'm making a list because of YouTube. And I've been making this list in my head over the last month on what cards I have to have in my collection in the next 10 years. That's like a goal. And there's probably going to be about 50 cards on it. That's one of them. And I don't want any other non-sport cards that are on the list except for that one. Because me and my wife love Disneyland. Magical place. That's YouTube is a very inspiring place. It also can be a very negative place. It can be a place that makes you want to never look at a baseball card again. So you got to be real careful with where you put your time, your energy, and your eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly, Dylan. And that's why I love your channel, because you know, you say you get butterflies showing them all. You butterflies showing all your cards. Your enthusiasm is just contagious.
Yeah.
And you know, those are the things. Dylan's completely correct. If you start watching all these negative channels and all these news and all this stuff on there, you know, you're just going to get a bad taste in your mouth. You know, but when you watch people like Dylan and just anybody that really loves their collection, I mean, it's just so inspiring. And yes, you know, sometimes you do get influenced. And yeah, like that Mickey Mouse card for me. I mean, when I saw that, I wanted it. I wanted it right away. And I didn't get it right away. I was actually wanted to get it a long time ago, but I waited till the right moment. And then, you know, I saw Ryan went over to England and picked up like 6 or 7 of those over there.
Oh, wow.
Had them all graded. And then I saw them all because he sent them over to his buddy over in Miami. And I looked at them all and I picked the best one. That was in a low grade, you know, that's the
there
thing.
we go.
Inspired me with that. He had some that were graded 6 and all that stuff. And I picked up the 4 because the 4 was just beautifully graded. And those are some of the beautifully centered. And those are some of the things that for me, you know, and I don't talk about too much of my goals and stuff, but yes, I'm going to do what Dylan does. I have some high grade cards that are off centered that I'm going to move those graded in 7s and 8s and get some cards that are beautifully centered in 4s and 5s.
Yep.
Because really, I think the future is eye appeal and centering. And that's pretty much going to be it. I don't think that the number grade is going to be as important. It's happening already as we speak, and it's been happening for a couple of years, I think. But
it's crazy. Not to interrupt you, Orlando, but it's crazy to me that two things are happening at once. High grades are becoming worth more, and high eye appeal are becoming worth more, which is very strange. But they're not so different because the high grades should have high eye appeal, right? So they should become worth more. But the high eye appeals in the low grades, nothing grinds my gear more on YouTube or anything in this hobby than someone saying they're upgrading their card with a higher grade. It makes me want to go back to collecting by myself and close all YouTube. How is buying a higher number better than buying a better looking card in any number? If you're going to upgrade your collection, upgrade the card, not the number on the slab. And that to me is the future. And that to me grinds more than anything else. And it drives me bonkers. I want to shut YouTube down and be like, you guys are out of your minds. I quit this hobby. This is insanity. You're upgrading a number.
I Dylan, right now a little story about that, Dylan, and thank you and others for keeping me out of this. I was about to upgrade a card, from a 4 to a 7, and I looked at the 7 and I looked at my 4, and I said, "Wait a second, what am I upgrading here? The 7 is off center. It's sharper." It's off center, but I like my 4 better. I'm going to keep my 4, save myself money. You guys talking about things like centering, eye appeal, and forgetting in the number. So I'm not holding up the number of this card, but I will show the card. It is perfectly centered, beautiful color, perfect registration, 1933 or 34. It's 33 Tattoo Orbit.
Tattoo Orbit.
Absolutely.
Looks like a 10.
Look
on video.
It's a 2.
Look at that.
Because I have a little bit of schmutz on the back.
I have one of those cards, and Mangini gave it to me as a gift.
Yep.
So this Tattoo Orbit. No, check it out.
Look. Example of what I'm now achieving.
Cover the grade because I don't want to see the grade, but look at that card.
I have this card out too.
Oh, I want to grab mine. It's behind the glass. Yes.
Perfectly centered, gorgeous example, 1.5.
Gorgeous example. Mine is authentic.
Hello, Mookie. There's a pinhole right there. So
that's the future, in my opinion.
You're preaching to the converted, not preaching.
And let me tell you this: since we're going down this, anyways, I don't preach this because I want everyone to do it. I preach this. I say this because I changed my opinion. And if I knew this when I was collecting all those 7s, man, I could have been buying these magical looking 2s for like $10 in 1999. I could have all the iconic cards on my wall right now in low grades, perfect eye appeal for a quarter of the price if I knew what I knew now. That's why I talk about my opinions, because I've been in it a long time. We've been in it a long time. Why not tell others that haven't, this is what we think is the correct way, that we think is the future. Let the rich guys do the rich thing. Let the guys bounce their 9s around with each other. Who cares? It's nonsense. Let it be. That is always going to have a place. 9s, 10s, they'll always have their place. Let them. But everything else, let us decide what is proper. And at least having people give their opinions about things gives us a chance to change our collection before we're so deep in it that you can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
And Dylan, the collectors are deciding. They are paying up for cards with that kind of eye appeal. I've seen people pay up to 2 grades for cards that are beautifully centered, that look just, you know, they're undergraded. That's really what it is in most cases.
Well, I also argue they're not undergraded because technically there's probably an issue with the card, but that's because there's a company that came up with a grading scale that we all abide by, like it's the Bible. It's baseball cards, but it's the Bible, and it doesn't have anything to do with the look of the card. And so for me, like, I do it with my own double D graded slabs. I abide by the Bibles. The PSA Bible, I use their scale to grade my cards, and I use their number. I like it. I think it makes sense. You have to have some system, but it doesn't mean the card's going to look better in a higher number. And to me, it just drives me absolutely bonkers when people say those words. I heard it on Jeff Wilson's channel yesterday. Some rich guy. I don't want to be offensive. He's rich because I know he's rich because he has a whole bunch of big cards. But he has this mantle in a 4.5 and he has one in a 2. And he goes, I had it in this and I had it in this and I'm slowly upgrading it. He said, because the number he's upgrading it. And to me, I was going, that's not upgrading. You're upgrading for the label. This number, you're upgrading for the number. How about you look at the card? Does your card need to be upgraded? Upgrade the card. Fine. If it's a higher grade, great. If it doesn't matter. That's all I care about. That's all.
Exactly.
You guys got my juices flowing. Talk about this.
Hey, you're right. I agree completely.
Well,
right up my alley.
Dylan with a passion on collecting for the win.
Hey, Nate. I owe Nate a huge shout out. Okay.
Oh, Nate is awesome.
Andrew asked the question, who did you watch first? I posted that video, my very first video. Next morning, I'm eating my bean burritos. I make beans every day. Me and my wife sitting eating bean burritos. And somebody, this guy, Nate, Tops 85401 here, does a video. And I see a Robin Yount card. And the guy's like talking about me. And I'm like, my wife's going, what? This guy just said your name. And I go, what is happening? What's happening right now? It blew my mind. Nate, it was so inspiring. And that's when I knew I found my home. Like, these are my friends. Like, my friends are great. I've had my whole life. I don't want any more friends outside of this world, because these are the guys we can talk for 7 hours about nothing but cards and we're good. So Nate, thanks, bro. He sent me a Duke Hanamoku card that I have on my wall. Like, it's just unbelievable, this community and what it has meant to me in my life. So thank you.
You're a magician because somehow Mangini grew a gigantic hair like Bob Ross. Because
But Dylan's right. I mean, all my friends, really, my good friends now are all YouTubers and people that are not on YouTube. I mean, I go to a card show and I have 2 or 3 friends that always meet me at that card show. They don't do YouTube, but they just become close friends. And it's just, it really enhances your entire hobby, just doing these things and just meeting all these people. Because remember, we all really at one time collected by ourselves. And this is the time that we kind of come out of the closet, I guess,
Yeah, totally. It's one of those things.
It's just great.
We're all like by ourselves playing with our baseball cards. My wife left back in the day. Like, I'd pop my safe open, throw them out on the floor, get a ladder, bring a ladder in the house, take photos from the top and like play with them. And then she's coming home. Oh, put them all back up. Put them away. Yeah. Like, and now it's like,
now it's just like
baseball cards. Why? I don't know. That it just does that. It does that butterfly. It does that feeling. It makes you feel safe. It makes you happy. Yeah.
It's a happy place. And it's, I've said it before, but collecting cards relieves so much stress in life. You're in another world and you're really just focusing on the cards and there's nothing else. No worries in the world, and I think that's really the best thing about it. It's healthy. It's just a great, great hobby. And I encourage everybody to get into it, and the beauty of it is that there's so many different channels and so many different collections and everybody collects differently. I mean, yes, everyone, we'll all have whatever the Henker and Rookie or whatever, but the bottom line is our collections are all different. They're all unique to us.
Totally.
And it's just fun to learn and to see you know, where everybody else is coming from. You know, hey, why did you go down that rabbit hole? And I love to see other people's collection because of that. Not necessarily am I going to go down that rabbit hole, but I love to see, you know, what gets them excited, you know, and then I'll share what gets me excited. And that's just, it's fun, you know, it's just,
I want to go back to, if I can find it. Mookie Chilson had a really, really good comment a short time ago.
Mookie never has good
YouTube.
He always has something to say.
Yeah,
he's
YouTube
missing Petty.
Yeah,
turned,
he's so good.
We're missing.
Yeah, where's Petty
missing my
been?
Petty.
I saw him earlier.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. No, that's about a smoothie. Forget it. That was Greg anyway. No, but his point was YouTube doesn't change you. It just brings out. It just brings out what you know, what your real interests are, right? Well, how does YouTube change you? No, it just magnifies what you really should be collecting all along. And I don't want to say what, you know, what Mookie, I'm using not using his exact language, but I think that's the point. And I feel like that was a good, excellent point at the very moment when Orlando was talking about how you made changes in your collection, but they were changes that were important to you, right? So you're now collecting Cuban cards. You've got collections. You've gotten connections to other Cuban collectors, and now that's important for you. And I remember you bringing out on your channel, Orlando, I think it was a newspaper that your sister had given to you.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah. It was a magazine from Cuba that my sister found at a flea market, and it has talks about the you know, baseball. So yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, for example, you know, my sister worked with Camilo Pascual's daughter many years ago. And so I collected a few Camilo Pascual cards, and she took them to Camilo and got them autographed. The daughter did, right? I never met him and all that stuff. So I started collecting that, and I had a few there. But when I got on YouTube and I started sharing a little bit of it, all of a sudden I had people from all over, different Camilo Pascual collectors from all over the world, literally, start commenting and start coming up to me and start even sending me stuff. And so then I got, you know, even more deeply into collecting Camilo Pascual, because now I uncovered other cards from other places that I'd never even known existed. So, you know, they just open your eyes, and you just, it expands your collection. You still have your collection, but your collection is a little more expanded, a little more focused, but it's expanded a little bit more, you know, because of other people or other people you get to meet along the way.
Right.
You nailed it, Orlando. Because I still love Topps more than all others.
Yeah.
But it has expanded, and it has been influenced and inspired from other individuals in our community and our friends, and it pushes it to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, you know, a lot of times, you know, I'll pick up a card from the 19th century, right? And I'm thinking, you know, nobody has much interest in that because nobody probably ever seen it and stuff. But then all of a sudden, you know, you get all these good comments. Oh, wow, that's cool. I've never seen it and stuff. And what it does is it inspires you to, you know, go after more of that kind of stuff that, you know, that I really want to go after. But, you know, I'm thinking, you know, it's sad because, you know, when you get to my age, I mean, I'm going to be 70 soon and in a couple of years. And I'm thinking, is it something I really want to get for the future? Or, you know, or is it going to be worth something in the future? Because I seem to be the only one who's interested in this kind of stuff. But really, when you do YouTube, you realize, no, I'm not the only one that's interested in this. There's many other people that are interested in this kind of stuff. And it's not just what I collect, it's just even what Dylan collects, you know, when he started with all the refractors, you know. I'm thinking, you know, then all of a sudden, you know, more people, Adam Vintage Sanctuary collecting it, and you know, Adam.
That one blew my mind when Adam got it.
And I'm looking at, damn, I was looking through all my collection to see if I had, because I opened up some 93 Finest, and I had some there, and I'm looking, man, do I have any refractors in here? And I didn't find any, but you know, it's stuff that opens your eyes, and you look at it and say, you know what, maybe I do want to get I do collect Griffies. Maybe I do want to get a Griffey refractor. So that's something I'm looking for, you know, and I'm probably going to pick one of those up, you know. So as part of my Griffey collection, but it ties into, you know, some of the other YouTuber stuff.
Yeah.
What was the first pack you ever opened, Orlando? Do you remember?
1968.
68. Okay. And Mangini is continuing this Mangino character. I don't know. He's continuing to harass us in the comments here.
I don't know why I'm all off centered. I don't know.
It's off-centered. That's another show.
Yeah. Dude, this has been really fun. What else you got for us, Dan?
Well, my question for you is, what can we look for in the future? Which you already answered, nothing. I'm just going to do the same thing. So you killed that question. And how much longer are you going to keep doing this? Because I found that some of these channels, about 5 years. I mean, Alex Bowman 53 was in our house in Cleveland, and he educated a bunch of us about channels that don't really, don't really post much anymore, but were a big deal like 5, 6, 7 years ago. And my question is, how much longer are we going to do this? Because, I'm a year and a half now. You guys are 3. Are you going to keep going? Are you 5, 10? I mean, you could be like
forever.
I'm going to do it forever until I pass away.
Why wouldn't you? These are my friends. Genuine friendships on here.
There's some great channels like Mike O has been on for like 12 years. He's still going. Mike Moynihan has been on for like 10 years. He's still going. So yeah, I mean, you could keep going, but some people do drop out. So what I want to say is, neither of you guys better drop out on me.
This is my life. This is part of my life now.
Totally.
This is something I'm going to continue for the rest of my life. I mean, I don't work anymore, so this is not really my job, but it's kind of my job now. I at least have something to do, between my walks and stuff. So as far as my channel, I do. I'm probably going to be doing a few little things different. I do want to do some collaborations, which I've never done on my channel. I've thought about it, but I've never done that. But I'm going to continue doing I've expanded into doing the card shows. I do a lot of, visiting card shops, and I want to continue doing that. I visited all the card shops in South Florida, and last year I voted who I thought was the #1 shop, and stuff like that. That was fun. So I may do that again, but mainly it's going to continue to be my journey and my collecting journey. And that's kind of what my channel has become now. I've shown probably 80-90% of my collection. So now it's my journey. Where do I go from here? What cards am I trading or selling or up, or getting, that type of thing. And where am I going to? So that's kind of, my channel is going to be that, my journey, the rest of my collecting journey. And I'm going to be doing some more of my walks. That's the only time I really kind of share my opinion that much, because I try to keep my channel just to cards and history of cards and focusing on cards versus focusing on me and me talking about my opinions. But I'll do that on my walks.
I like your walk opinions. Those are my favorite ones, Orlando.
And I want to do more collaborations with other people. And I had one channel that just started recently, and I won't even say who it is yet, but they contacted me, and I'm going to do a collaboration with that person. And it's a really brand new channel. I think it only has 4 or 5 videos, but I actually talked today. So we'll see what we can do with that. And I want to do that more collaboration, but with new people, people that are brand new into the YouTube community, and maybe boost them up like they boosted me up when I was, a smaller guy, So that's kind of one of the things I want to find.
About 5 videos into my channel, I had about 100 subscribers, and a gentleman agreed to come onto my channel who had many more subscribers than me and talk about a subject that was important to both of us. And I am forever grateful, Orlando, that you did that for me. And I was nobody, and you came onto the channel and it helped me boost. So,
thanks, Dan.
I really appreciate that. And, and to you continuing to do that, I think is really is commendable. So I thank you on behalf of the rest of the community and the new guys. So Dylan,
let's help bring these guys, just like, I was helped, Dylan was helped, you were helped. So I think the more people we bring into the community first, and then we boost them up and help as many people as we can, because we want to keep more people coming into the community, and we want to make the next national or the next Strongsville twice as many YouTubers as we had last time.
Well, that I know Jason recruited Aaron from Value Vintage Cards at Strongsville last year, and Aaron's like one of the best new channels around. You know, and just a great collector, great collection, terrific guy. He's been on my channel because I think he's great, and I invited him on.
I got to tell you, there are people that, more people that are not on YouTube have better collections than any of us.
100%.
They're just not on YouTube.
No question about it.
That's what I love, because a guy like me and you, Orlando, I'm just speaking because I just know you and me, our story. We were in this so long by ourselves, didn't know this world existed, and we loved cards and had huge giant collections, yet we didn't know it existed. So imagine that. And this world, we tend to be loners, dare I say. We like to look at baseball cards. It's not the normal thing. There is so many more people, thousands and thousands times, in my opinion, more people that are not on YouTube, not listening to any of our conversations, any of these opinions. You see it you can see it in the prices of cards that sell. Like ugly high grade still sell for a lot of money. So there's still millions, probably the wrong word, thousands of collectors who have no idea what's going on in the hobby and could care less. I was one of those for 20, 30, 40 years. And now I still don't care about what Topps does. I don't care. I just do my own thing. But now I know. And that's the trap that us YouTube content consumers can get into, is where you're focusing your energy and where you're focusing your time. Is it those channels that are, not most channels aren't negative. There's some negative channels, but do you want to hear hobby news all the time? It's cool to hear hobby news when you're driving down the street in the car. But I for one don't need to know every little detail about how many of refractors are made and how many of this and what happened here. I don't care about CT scanners. It's cool to hear it. It's going on, but in my brain it means nothing. It's dead sound. I want to hear collectors with passion, and when they show a card, they talk about the history, where they got the card, how they got the card, why they love the card. That's why I'm in it, and that's how I'm going to continue to go along this journey. And why would I ever lose? Why would I ever stop doing YouTube videos if it brings me joy? If it stops bringing me joy, and I get trapped in the negative parts, like I know John Mangini's done some videos where I was in the beginning like, dude, who cares? Don't watch him. But then I've gotten trapped. I've gotten negative in things and felt negativity in my brain. And I've gotten comments that I've felt that have ruined my sleeps. I've gotten a few nights of bad sleeps over the 3 years from comments. As you learn, as you grow, and you let yourself out, like I'll get negative comments from this, I'm sure. Negative comments. I learned I delete and I block and I don't care. And I don't respond to every comment, and I'm okay with that. The moment I start taking YouTube as a chore is the moment I quit. And I don't ever want that. So I don't plan on ever quitting. I want to be 70, 80, 90 years old, pushing the record button and pushing stop and being with my friends. That's what I'm
going to be doing. I agree. Same thing for me, Dylan. Me and him are very alike in our collecting and our history and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Completely.
There's a lot of guys I put in our little, and it's hard to, you don't want to say like our little, like we've been in it so long, and I'm very under the impression that there's no such thing as a professional collector. I freaking hate that. There is no such thing. You can come in the hobby tomorrow and buy a card and it can be worth a fortune tomorrow. Are you a professional? No, you just got lucky. Am I professional? No. There is no such thing where collecting cards. It's like but there's guys like John Mangini, Orlando, that I have this connection to, that we were by ourselves doing our own little world thing. And there's a lot more. I'm just bringing these names because John's in the chat. Orlando's right here. Dan, I don't know how long your whole history, because you were interviewing us from day one. But to me,
I've been interviewed.
It's like,
I'll send you the links.
we were, you know, we have this little joint thing that we just love them by ourselves. And now we are influenced and inspired by others. So it's fun, man. I love YouTube.
It's fun, and I just can't even believe that people watch us, Dylan. You know,
I
I mean,
can't
sometimes
either.
you
I'm
think
like,
about,
playing with cards.
you know, what the
Check
hell?
out this
Showing
sick
cards,
one.
you see my hands and show them cards, and I'm thinking, who the hell is wasting their time listening to us? You
I know, but then
you
I
know
go
what?
and watch my own videos after.
Yeah, and then
Cards.
I'll
That's
watch
what
it
an
is.
interview with
It's freaking
somebody,
art.
and I'm like, wow,
It's
that's
beautiful
cool.
art.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's just,
not
you
just
know,
the cards. It's not just the cards though on YouTube.
No, it's
because
not.
you
That's
have
true.
to have a story with the card. You have to talk about the card. I don't even
Right.
care if you get emotional. I don't care why you bought it. I don't care if you bought it on a whim and you were drinking a bottle of vodka. That's part of the history. That's part of why I love it. I love when people share.
Yep.
Why did you buy that card? I don't care if it's off-centered. I don't care if it's bent in half. Why'd you buy that card? Tell me
You
about
love
it.
it.
That's
Share
what
it.
I
Why-
love more.
Exactly.
That's what I love more. Yeah.
This is the great thing. I love the comments on my videos. You know?
Yeah. Comments
Yeah,
are
it's true.
absolutely the best. They keep you
The
going.
best.
Yep.
And
my last video, good point. My last video, I did an SGC reveal, and I guess I told the story of a lot of the cards, why I bought them, why I graded them, etc. And it's a lot of comments saying thank you for that kind of information. So you're absolutely right. It's not just, you know, showing a beautiful card. It's having a story behind it, and the story how it relates to you personally. And I feel like that's something that people like to see. And we were joking before. This was a conversation taken in from Alex's live stream that Orlando and I were talking about, that people want to see cards. They don't necessarily want to learn. I think it's not necessarily that they just want to see the cards. They want to see the cards in an interesting way.
That's it.
But another thing you have to say about this is personality is part of it too. I mean, Dylan, your personality, the energy that you bring not only to your channel, but you know, when I met you in person, it's even better. It's like that energy to me draws me to watch.
He's electric. He's electric.
You know?
Let me tell you.
Well, to be fair, yeah, it's. I don't want to. It's like one of those things. Like that's just me. It's just who I am.
Right.
And that comes. That's just like number of views. But that's not why you should do videos. If you're at home watching, like you do videos, there's gonna be people connect with to everybody, and you're gonna find your little group. You're gonna find your friends within this world. I don't talk to Orlando. I have talked to him on the phone maybe once, maybe not ever.
Yeah.
We text once in a while. There's certain groups where you go into and you don't need to be in every single group, and you learn that as you go. And you know, personalities are personalities. I can't help who I am. You can't help who you are.
Right.
And that's where the sub count, I guess, it comes in, which it's like an unfair advantage because I'm more bubbly than others, but I don't love the cards more than the guy who's quiet, soft spoken. I don't love the cards more than Joe's Four Soft Corners. He loves the cards as much as me. He feels the same passion I do about every card he gets. Once you find a guy like Joe and you find guys that you connect to, it doesn't matter your sub count, doesn't matter that you're in the community, you're in this little world.
Joe is a good example of the reason why I love and watch a channel like Orlando. It's because you can feel the soul. Joe is such a good guy. He's such a real positive.
You feel it.
You know, you feel the soul, and that to me is also, and that when I mentioned Aaron from Value Vintage, same thing. It's not a bubbling personality. It's not a lot of energy, but it's the soul. You can feel like the positivity from, you know, the person themselves. Yeah. And you talked about negative on YouTube. I don't really watch any negative on YouTube. Is there anything negative that I should be watching?
There's a lot of negative.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm pretty good at blocking it out and listening to it. I can listen and just let it be air. But I like, you know, I listen to a lot of stuff because podcasts are the easiest for me to listen to. I'm on the way to the beach, but there's tons of negative stuff. It's ridiculous.
It's
I'm
overwhelming
joking
sometimes.
about it, but
Yeah.
Mike, Mike from Junk Wax Hero, he and I text like every day these days, and we've become pretty good friends. And he does a lot of this sort of news stuff. So I think he's.
I listened to his today, but I loved it.
Some of these negative stuff that I hear, but I get it from him. Like he'll tell me about stuff like that some of these guys have said, but I don't watch certain channels because it's not interesting to me. I want to see vintage baseball cards. I want to see discussions about them. I want to learn. I want to be influenced on how I can make my collection better. These are the kind of things that I feel that YouTube, the right YouTube subscriber list will absolutely help you do.
Yeah, I've tried to avoid all of these, negative type channels. But I think I've been very lucky because they've invited me to be on the hobby hotline. Some of at least once a month. We haven't done it in December, but because of that, I do need to watch some of the news type things that are happening because they're going to be discussed on the hobby hotline. So I will watch that now, but I didn't used to watch any of that. I tried to avoid that, and I still try to avoid it. But every once in a while, I gotta. If I'm going to be on, I better watch it. If not, John Newman is going to spank me.
There's nothing wrong with knowing what's going on in the hobby too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like Junk Wax Hero, when he does his news and he talks about it, it's fun. It's enjoyable to listen to. He just tells you this is what's going on. It's a great way to know what's happening without making your brain spin and getting mad,
And
collectors channels you don't get mad at though. So it's
Mike is definitely not in the chat right now. Mike is not in the chat because he's asleep. His bedtime's like 9 o'clock. So if he's rewatching this, he can know that I made fun of him and his old man bedtime.
We were talking about the passion and stuff. To me, collecting when you get a card that you really want, that you've been looking at and studying or whatever for a long time, and you finally get it. I mean, it's like almost like let's say like a marriage or something. That's a commitment that you made, and for me, that card is going to stay in my collection forever. At this point in my life, whatever card I got, that red tie card I got, it's going to be with me forever. I mean, so it's like a commitment. It's something like I just fell in love again with that card. So that's how I feel when I get a card that I've been waiting for or looking for a long time. And you try to express that sometimes on the video. When you talk about your 52 mantle or stuff. Every time I see that card or any of my cards that I just love, I mean, it's going to come through because it's a card almost like one of your kids. You know what? That's something that's one of my kids that it took me a long time to earn it, to get it, to find it. And now I have it, and it's just one of those things that the passion comes across, versus those people like the flippers that, they're just showing the card, getting it and flipping it and it's gone,
Dude, the whole box breaking thing is like, I didn't even know this stuff existed until I got on YouTube. I had no idea people had other people open their packs for them and open cards for them.
No, why?
What?
That's the fun, is
Dude,
opening cards.
That's the whole point. Why would you pay somebody to open your packs? I don't get it. I'll never get it. But I'm glad they do it because I can buy their cards for, they get opened. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. To me, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. It's like crazy.
The fun is the opening of the packs. That is the fun of it.
We're having some confessions in the chat here. Mookie is saying that.
Confession night.
Yeah. It's like that girl you've been going after for a long time and you finally found it. You're not going to flip her.
I'm flipping this, actually.
Caitlin Clark,
I want to do a quick shout out to Munson Trout Collector. So my dad worked in the oil fields for 30 years, He used to fly by in a helicopter, surf the pier. I've talked about this before. And he'd hang out and wave to me on the way to the oil derrick. So I have been around the oil fields and in the oil fields since I was a kid. Not anymore, but yeah. Sounds like he's in the working gas and oil. So, boom.
Yeah.
Well, last time I did a chat, we talked about our dads, so, and that actually got some other people picked up on it because Tony Southern Collector had a really good story about it. But
Yeah.
I don't want to get into dads this time, even though we actually did both. You did both talk about your dad. So we had look. Orlando,
Oh.
favorite
All
two
right.
Oh, the legend himself
The
makes
legend
an
himself.
appearance. Woo.
He
Thanks,
has
Mike.
inspired more YouTubers than anybody that I know. Let me tell you.
I agree with that.
I wouldn't be on here if it wasn't
Yeah.
for his show. Mike, where the heck is where's your show at? Am I missing your show, or are you not putting it out anymore?
No, you missed. He put out a video today.
Wait, no, I'm not his videos. I'm talking about his
Golden
podcast.
Age.
Golden Age of Cardboard.
Golden Age. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that.
Dude, Mike, Golden Age of Cardboard. That's my jam. Put it on. Come on. I appreciate you putting those out though. Okay, good.
Well,
Thanks, Mike.
He
Love
does
him.
so much. You know,
He,
Mike's got the showdown with Chris. He's got the top 50 cards. I mean, he's got. So
Yeah, he's
much
been
going
doing a
on.
lot of videos on his own
You
channel.
can do more. Come on.
Yeah. But he did me such a solid at the National with Skip and Chris and I in front of the line on the Johnny Bench autograph that I am literally, when somebody does something that cool for me, I am forever loyal. So, yeah, big Mike fan here, obviously.
Yeah, we're all big Mike fans.
And Jason, who we hung out with at both Strongsville and the National, is one of the best new. Is he new? I guess he's new. It's probably about.
He's only been up for about a year.
He just celebrated a year. That was his last video. Yeah, so good for that. That he's coming on for a year. But Dylan, are we going to see you in the National this year?
Not going. I probably won't go to another National. I can't do it, man. I can't go that far. I feel it's great. I like, if I could snap my fingers and be there, I would do it in 2 seconds. But the travel, being away from my wife, it hurts my heart. It hurts me. After 2 days, I feel sick because I'm far. It'd be different. Like, I could be away from my wife for 5 days. No problem. If I was 1 4-hour flight away, if I was California, boom, I could come home on a flip, like something happens. Being so far, being 24 hours to 36 hours away, it really hurt. It's impossible. I can't do it. The first time it was tough. First time was incredibly tough because something happened. Second time was epic time. Like, I can't take that away, but I just can't be me. I just can't do it. It hurts too much. So I won't be going to the National probably ever again unless it comes into California. I will do California. Come to California, no problem. 5-hour flight.
I took my wife to Atlantic City for the National, so that helped. But
Strongsville's just as far. I won't be doing Strongsville.
Yeah, Strongsville is Cleveland, so
same thing.
I don't see you doing that either.
No.
Well, I'm sad to hear that.
Yeah, me too. I trust me. I look. It's like it's the greatest night of my life. Like all the nights this last year and the year before, but it's not worth it for me. It's too hard on me. It's too hard on my heart. Like, it's hard. Can't be away that long.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but Orlando, we are going to see you in Strongsville, I hope.
Yes, sir. Strongsville and the National. I'm all set.
We'll never forget you at Strongsville last year, Orlando. Like, first time I met you, you were telling me about other people's pickups, which I felt like was so like such a.
He always says that, dude. You got to see this, guys. You got to see this.
Like,
I'm excited
we're
for
meeting
everybody.
for the first time.
Awesome.
Like, give him a hug, shake his hand, talk about stuff. He's like, "Did you see what Rick got?" I'm like, "What? Tell me about yourself."
I know.
But
awesome.
yeah, so Strongsville. I mean, Dylan, if you ever feel different. Strongsville for me was a different experience than the National, in large part because it was a smaller group of people. The show is smaller. You can spend more time with your YouTube friends, and there's not a lot of distractions. So, and this year especially, there are going to be more events, non-show events.
I'll be going to the Burbank card show, and I'll see George and a bunch of Cali guys. There's a bunch of guys, Pepino Man,
Mikey, Mike Petty,
Rick, Mike Petty, Rick Acosta. I'll be doing a California show. You know, I just won't go all the way to the other side anymore. Just won't do it. Unless my wife comes with me one day. In 10 years,
a good group of
maybe
people
comes with me. We go to Disneyland, Orlando, Florida, and who knows.
Well, guys, it's Mike Petty said we were going to go 2 hours, but we've only got an hour and 45 minutes. So.
Hey, we can keep going. I'm good.
I'm good.
The early here.
I don't have any more questions. Actually, do I? No.
Oh, man.
I do want to say something though, that in a few weeks, Jake, Legends Never Die, is going to come out with a video about a way that we can all say and do nice things for each other, and I'm looking forward to that. And I know that in order for you to be a person who people can say and do nice things for, you have to be on YouTube for 3 years. And so you guys having made 3 years, I hope people know that. And I think that's part of the reason I did this live stream, is that you two guys who just are making 3 years, like as of next week, people should know that.
Vote us into the Hall of Fame. That's what he's saying. I want to be in the Hall of Fame. It will mean a lot to me. It'll mean a lot to Orlando. I can't tell you guys enough. Like, I'm fine. I don't care if I say it. I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I know some guys don't care. I don't. It's not gonna break my heart. I will treasure it. It will mean a great deal to me. I didn't know it existed before I got on YouTube, and the second I found out it existed. It's like, wow, that's really special. It's really cool. And to me, it's not the YouTube Hall of Fame. It's like, it's a collecting Hall of Fame. To me, it's like the collecting Hall of Fame.
Right.
I don't, dude. Only collecting videos, guys, in my opinion, should be on there. I don't care about the other. I don't care. Jeff Wilson, have your own thing. I know Mike feels completely opposite of me. I'm in this for collectors. I want to be in the Hall of Fame because I feel like it's a conglomerate of collectors, and I want to be a part of it, and I'll be honored. And if you vote for us, I'm not going to do any speeches this year about it, except right now. I would love, and I would be honored if you vote for me and Orlando to be in the Hall of Fame this year. It would mean a great deal to us. That's where Dan's going with all this beating around the bush. Like, it's the Hall of Fame, guys. Come on, get me in. Let's go. Get Orlando in.
I wanted to be coy about this, but it wasn't going to happen.
Dan, if you're not ready to get off, Andrew had a good question. He said take some questions from the chat. Andrew's had a bunch of questions all night.
Yeah, I already have my 10 choices, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
I've already ready to do my video, because I couldn't vote last year because I was only on for like 6 months. But this year, at a year and a half, I can vote. And you two guys are my first and second votes. I'm not going to tell you who's first and who's second.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're on.
One A and one A. Or as I tell my kids, when they were little kids, used to say, "Daddy, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite? Am I your favorite?" I say, "Yes, you are my favorite. You're tied for first with the rest of them." So you guys are tied for first.
Thank you, Dan.
But I've got some other people on here that are making 3 years this year. Should I read them?
Yeah, read them off.
Yeah, I mean,
why not? It's coming up.
Mike Junkwax Hero makes 3 years. John Keating.
He's in. Oh, yeah.
Adam Splendid Sports makes 3 years this year.
Yep.
Ryan Nolan has been on for, I think, 4 years. Should get a vote. Eddie Cardboard Chaos, who is in here, is now on 3 years. Gets a vote. Sammy Thunder.
Sammy. You got to get Sammy in there.
I think he's like 3.5 now. So he's a definite vote. And then 2 others that people don't vote for. Why don't people vote for Chris Sewell? Chris Sewell is the best channel on YouTube. as far as I'm concerned.
He got a lot of votes.
Yeah, I think Chris is a great
Didn't
guy.
make it, but yeah, I like Chris. Chris is one of the ones I followed in the beginning also.
And then the
I
other
don't
one,
watch his videos, but I think he's a really nice guy.
because I'm Carlos, is not really a vintage.
He doesn't
baseball
want
guy.
to be. He doesn't want to be in it. So why waste a vote?
Is that true? Okay.
Carlos does not want to be in the Hall of Fame. He's made it very clear, and
He
I
criticizes it and stuff.
I love watching his channel. I love
listen
watching
to him.
him on Fridays. It's a good time. But he doesn't want to be
Oh,
on
then
there.
they have-
Don't
So
waste your
that
vote.
means I
I
only
voted
have
for
9
Carlos
votes
last
then.
time.
So my 10th vote is up for sale. If anybody wants to contact me, I will give them my Venmo, and that 10th vote will be up for sale. I think
How's
that's
Chris
illegal.
from Missouri? No, Chris from Missouri.
Chris is like 2.5 years. Same as I think Chris is October of 22, so he's like
Okay.
2.5 years. Same thing with Craig. Craig is like October of 22 also.
Okay,
Um,
there's 2 definites right there for next time.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
all those guys to me are,
Yeah.
they're in. So vote for who you guys want. Like that. Those were all great groups, great guys.
yeah. But like I said, if Carlos doesn't want to be in, then I'll vote for somebody else. And
Yeah, as far as last year, he didn't want anything to do with it. He's
Now I gotta
very
do
critical of
research.
it. And I really like Carlos. I think he's a great guy.
Yeah,
I listen to his channel. I like
Yeah.
his shows.
He,
But if
he
you don't
was-
want to be in, then why vote him? Why waste a vote? If he doesn't,
That's
if it
true.
means nothing, doesn't mean anything, then it means something to me. It'll mean something to Orlando. It'll mean something to Sammy. It'll mean something to all those guys on that list. So that's how I say it. If I'll put myself out there, that's what I would say. Make it meaningful.
I'm with
All
you.
right.
It really does. It does nothing. It literally means nothing unless it means something to the person receiving the vote.
So
does
here's an
nothing.
important. What's your YouTube war? Because if we're gonna vote for Hall of Fame, we got to know your war.
165.
There you go. Okay.
Oh, he's the Babe Ruth.
Oh, I thought Mark was going to send me a package to get a vote, but Mark is not actually making videos. He's actually
No.
sending me a package tomorrow because he bought
Oh,
me
that's awesome.
a really fantastic item. So thank you,
Yeah,
Mark.
Mark just
and he
goes on
did
everybody
say-
else's videos.
So if you guys want to stick around, I'm fine. We got 60 people in the chat. We went as high as 70, but we're at 60. If anybody wants to ask a question to any one of us or all of us, go ahead, because we got some time. It's 10:52 here in the normal part of the world. In the
I got a
paradise part
question.
of the world,
I got a
it's
question
4:50.
I have a question for Orlando. I've always wanted to ask. I think I might have asked this, but have you ever thought about selling your 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle? And in my opinion, I think that is a $1 million copy. Even if it's not, say it's a $300,000 copy. Have you ever thought of selling it? Not if you need the money or anything. Has that ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about what it's like?
No, I've never thought about selling it. And I don't think I'll ever sell it. And yeah, I guess with the eye appeal on it is the eye appeal of $1 million card. But, obviously it's not even going to get close to anything like that. But no, I'll never sell that card.
I just think you're wrong. I think, especially in the future, I just think the story with that card and what it looks like, I think you're highly undervaluing that card. I think that is one of the most impressive examples of the Mickey Mantle I've ever seen.
I do.
Just so you know.
Yeah, I agree with, the story of the card is why I got it. That the way it was found, and then it's, I'm the second owner of that card. And for me to be the second owner of a 52 Mantle, it's like a miracle. So yeah, I do think it's definitely because the provenance of the card and the look of the card. I mean, it's centered. It's a mint card right out of the pack,
Yeah.
So it's a little bit short based on the technical thing. But yeah, I definitely, I think it, in the future, it's definitely going to be worth good money, but I really am never going to sell it. Dylan, I just,
Cool.
That's the core, that's the dream card that I've wanted my entire career. Since I've been a kid, I've looked at that, and in the cover of all the magazines, of all the auction houses, of all the stuff. I mean, who doesn't want a 52 Mantle? I mean, that was, especially a Mantle collector like me, you know, that's a card that I waited, you know, literally 60 years, you know, I'm 60 years old pretty much when I got that card. So, you know, to let it go, no. I don't
Good
think so.
answer.
But
Boatman.
definitely, I do think that is probably going to be one of the more. It is. If it isn't the most valuable card in my collection now, it will be in the future. You know,
It's a pretty magical card. I've only held
I
one
think
Mickey
so.
Mantle 52 Tops my whole life. I saw one when I was a kid, but I've only held one, and that was Eric. Those back pages. That was the only one I've ever held in my whole life. So that's a very special card, Orlando. I think yours is just stunning. Thank you for answering.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Petty.
Got a question?
Petty has one too.
Carlos was in the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Carlos in the chat
Carlos
saying that, in
back.
Carlos
fact,
in the chat.
he's not joking about not wanting to be in the Hall of Fame. So if Carlos wants to reach out for me and say, don't vote for me, because I wanted to vote for him.
No,
If
he
doesn't want to
said
vote,
he
I'm not
made
gonna
a
take
comment. He made a comment earlier. If you could pull the other one up.
Yeah. He said,
But if he wants to change his opinion now's the time.
it's like
I
Dylan.
love Carlos. I
deep
voted for him last
balls.
time, but
That's actually fun.
I love Carlos too.
yeah, he's great.
Yeah, no, I watch the show all the time.
He's not negative. I
Can't
love
watch
his
it
show.
for
No.
4 straight hours, but I can watch it for like an hour because, you know.
I watch a few hours. I load up my car for the show on Saturday, so I listen to it every single Friday.
Okay.
I barely comment because it's in my pocket and I'm working at the time. Every once in a while I throw a comment, but I love that show.
Yeah, as far as the talk shows like that, he's the best one out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's got such a natural style,
Right.
you know, and it's really conversational and it's
His
really
sense
easy.
of humor is just the best. You know,
Yeah,
I
it's
like
so
that.
classic.
What was that?
Sense of humor. He's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, very good sense of humor.
So he's
We don't want to
sarcastic
comment
as hell.
on a negative thing, right?
Oh, Shoebox is in the house. Woo!
Yeah.
He missed all those compliments I was giving him earlier. And
Yeah,
Andrew, what
somebody
you got?
said,
Any questions?
Somebody said that his his ear was ringing and he came in because he heard his voice. He heard his name. Dylan, what's on your mind now and looking forward to you in the New Year's? That's not really a question.
Actually, I can answer this. Okay, I'll take up a couple more minutes here. I've been on like this card quest brain situation going on lately. Like, how many cards can I have? I can only fit so many. So I've been really diving deep in my brain and trying to think of what I'm going to be going for in this coming year. And I've got, I'm making lists, and I've never made a list in my whole life. I have some sets of Topps Chrome, Bowman Chrome, Gaudy Heads Up. I have some sets that I want to complete, and then I have some big iconic cards that I really want to get in the next 10 years. And I'm going to make a list like everybody else does in this hobby. And I'm going to, it's not like I'm going to stick with the list, but it's going to be a good brain. When I'm looking for cards, I haven't bought a card in like 9 days. And the last card I bought was $1.49. But I haven't bought a card in 9 days. And it's because my brain is like going through this, like, what do I buy? I'm pulling out books, pulling out the best 300 cards from Mike Payne, looking at cards and putting these on my brain list. Well, I'm going to write the list down, and I'm going to make a play for these certain ones. In the next 10 years, I'd like to have some big cards coming my way, but I also am really obsessed with finishing my Topps Chrome, Bowman Chrome, Topps Finest. I want to really finish those sets and Gaudy Heads Up, which I'm really close to finishing. That's what's going on in my brain.
I'm responding to a text because Greg texted all three of us while we're on the air. What is he doing?
I see that. I see that's coming through on my phone now.
Oh, that's sick.
Well, I'm joking because I said we've been on for 2 hours, Mr. Short-Winded.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I always tell him he talks too much, and we're just keep going and going and going.
So the funny thing
fun.
is,
Great.
his video now that just came out, it's a Short-Winded, but it's got Chris from Missouri. So it's like
So
Greg
good.
and Chris
Yeah.
from Missouri. So it's fantastic. It's a fantastic video. I laughed
So
out loud like
Yeah.
4
Me too.
times.
Me
Yeah.
too.
And but I'm thinking like short-winded. These two guys, they keep me occupied in my head, but they're not short-winded guys, you know.
I
No,
love
no.
not short-winded guys. Bring
You
it.
got to be patient.
that was the
But you
best.
know, I do videos that are an hour and a half. So you know, I mean, what are you gonna do?
That's right.
Anyway, Chris tells one joke, and I would really want people to pay attention to the way he delivers it. It's about his wife running a half marathon. That's the hardest I laughed all year.
Oh, it's so good. And you just, yeah. So good. Actually, after that, I was so fired up. I was sitting in my booth. I do pop-ups with all my wife's artwork, and I texted Greg. I go, oh man, I just hit a card. I go, dude, when are you gonna have me on Short-Winded? And when you do, if you do, you have to ask me this one question. I'm not gonna say it is now, but it was one that Chris asked, and it just hit me. I'm like, dude, that was such a good question. That was a great episode. So Greg said, I'll put the power to it since he's on here. He said he's gonna have me on in January, so hopefully I'll be on there. Sometimes you gotta ask to be on someone's show.
That's right.
I'm gonna harass him.
No
about
shame
having
in
you
that.
on. Absolutely. He you know, in Chris, Missouri said he was going to be on my show at the National, and it's 5-6 months later, and it hasn't happened yet. So,
Dude,
He's too busy
I
with Mike.
I came on.
you came on like a month later. It was like,
Oh,
you know, 6 hours
unbelievable.
apart. We worked it out. So
I never do that. I barely even reply to text messages, so we got lucky there.
I guess I was desperate. Dan called me. I said, "Yeah, Dan, let's go." We did it right away.
Greg, wait, can I see this? Greg is showing pictures of himself.
So good. Yeah, he's at a sick place.
Yeah, he's having his Mai Tai
What?
out there.
I love it.
I think he's drunk. You drunk, Greg?
He doesn't drink. He doesn't drink. If he had a drink and a
that's
half, he
right.
might be. He's
That's
on the
right.
next level. Yeah.
He's straight. So, yeah. Oh well. Oh well. Look, here we go. We all have an open invite. All right. I'm gonna text him right
No,
now.
I'm in.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll go on. Yeah. No, I'm gonna be on Greg's show in February in a thing we've talked about. So looking forward to that. But here we are, 11:02. So Mike Petty was right.
Is it
Made,
11:02?
Yeah,
where
2
you're at,
hours. We
PM?
did it.
Yeah, we made
Are you-
2 hours.
Wow, Dan,
Yeah.
you're a trooper.
I don't think Mike
Yeah.
Petty's on here anymore. Where is he?
I don't know
He's in
because it's
bed.
early
Well.
in California.
Oh, we're still at 52. He's not drunk. It's only 6 p.m.
Only
That's true.
6, yeah.
He's on someone's
there he is.
finally on my time.
There he is.
Unbelievable.
Petty's always right though.
Oh, he's there. He's
Right.
there.
Now,
You know,
I have a
we talk
question for
about
Mike Petty. Is Mike Petty coming to Strongsville this year?
Yes, he is.
Because he didn't go to the National.
He's coming to Strongsville.
Is he going to Strongsville?
I'm sure he is.
He better go.
And
All
I
right,
gotta tell
well,
you,
wait.
that's one of the beauties of YouTube
Ah,
to meet people like Mike
there we
Petty.
go.
I mean, you know,
Going to Strongsville.
Petty talks a lot of crap and all that stuff and all that, but let me tell you, he is a sweetheart. You know, he's got a heart of gold, and you know, he's all talk. You know, when you hear him, all that crap he talks in the chat is all talk. He's
Yep.
just a piece of cake. He's an awesome guy, and that's really the best thing about YouTube is meeting people like that.
Yeah, Petty is pretty awesome. Even that, like, I've heard some of his videos, some rants on some shows. I'm like, dude, this is next level. But in the end, he really is a genuine, really awesome guy.
Yeah.
When he came on my channel both times, I had the best time ever. Even though I had to bleep some things, it's only because I have some family sometimes watches my channel. Otherwise, I'm a sailor too, and in that aspect, I just keep it to, in the flesh sailor talk or on text. So,
Yeah, definitely. He's got a heart of gold. Yeah.
yeah, he does.
Yep. And I saw him write the biggest check I've ever seen for a card. That was cool.
Maybe the only check you've ever seen someone write for a card.
No, I
At
just
least he
seen
found
him
the
write.
check. He
Who
almost
writes
didn't find the
checks?
check. He didn't have the check.
I don't even know. I don't even have a check. I don't think.
I have a checking account, but it's for my business. So if I wrote a check on my business account, I don't think that would be good for the accountants.
Well, you got anything else for us, Dan?
I don't have anything else for you. I do have one more thing to say, and that's thank you both, not only for coming on the channel, doing the live stream, being good friends, being people that I like, respect, admire, all that stuff. I mean, both of you are A1, A+ guys, and I do really appreciate, the fact that we've connected, and you've come on my channel, and we've had some fun off screen and in person, and I hope to continue that in the future.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for those kind words.
Thanks,
I really
Dan.
appreciate it. Goes all three ways here. Thank you.
So we're going to go off. We're going to end the stream, and the chat was awesome tonight. Absolutely awesome. Best chat I've ever had in terms of just people, questions, comments, people coming in. And I think a lot of that is you two guys inspiring that. So thanks, guys. Thanks, chat. We're going to go and end the stream now.
We love the chat. Thank you, guys.
So sick. Love it.